1, 2, clink. Cheers. Cheers. That's literally my line.
Who says clink out loud?
Cheers, girls. 1, 2, 3, clink.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today, my legs are literally up on this table.
My phone is literally in the shot.
We're so professional. Today, we are going to be talking about apartment hunting. As New Yorkers, apartment hunting is probably one of the biggest obstacles that you can tackle. Last episode, we were talking a lot about levels and like the boss level apartment hunting by yourself as adults with like semi your own income in New York City is the boss level before you even enter a whole new video game of adulting. So
she invented boss level. I've never heard that term before in my life until I met her.
Uneducated.
Deliverables, boss level. I'm learning.
Yeah, I'm learning about new song. What was that song that I didn't know last time? 1, 2.
By Lupe Fiasco.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I know.
It's Superstar.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for someone to comment, but no one has yet.
Rude.
That she did not know that song.
Rude.
Also, I sound so nasally right now because I am recovering from my vaccine side effects. So if you see me sneeze or change my shirt 6 times because I'm literally having heat flashes, that is why.
Well, because when you get the second vaccine, one of apparently the most common, I didn't really get that much I didn't get that many side effects because I only got like fatigue, which is still pretty bad. Like I was seriously tired for like 3 days, but it was nothing like what she's experiencing. She's experienced cold flashes, hot flashes, goosebumps, fever, sinus. Yeah. And she's fine. She just got tested negative for COVID like literally a day ago. So she obviously doesn't have it, but like it's a delayed symptom from the shot because she just got it too 4 days ago.
Like I'm so glad I got it because like get vaccinated. But yeah, I'm those people that like if there's a side effect to anything, your girl's gonna get it. Like Tylenol probably has side effects I'd probably get. So
you've had fatigue. What?
I've had fatigue, fevers, hot flashes, a lot of cold flashes, and they're always back to back. Arm pain, the sweats,
goosebumps.
Bruh, it was 50 degrees headaches, outside.
Really bad headache.
I got really bad headache. It was 50 degrees outside, and I walked to the bodega, literally 4 feet away from Mr. Medium's apartment, and I was dripping sweat. And he was like, "Ill." I was like, "Thank you."
Did he actually say "ill"?
He literally said "ill."
That's so funny.
I was like, "Thank you."
The way you say "ill" sends me
ill.
How
else did you say it?
Ew. Okay, we're not getting into this again.
Diction.
If you watched our last episode, I know we keep referencing it. I'm sorry, so you better go watch it. But like earlier today, even Sydney came in my room and we were having a further debate, like an extra 20-minute long debate about how to say the word wing. Wing.
She doesn't pronounce
There's
the G. The G is not silent. She's there to stay.
Yes.
I don't understand.
If I looked it up right now, is the G and wing silent? They say yes.
They'd be lying to you. Okay, when you eat chicken wings, what do you say?
Chicken wing.
Chicken wing. Okay.
Chicken wing.
Chicken wing.
Chicken wing.
And like, you know that TikTok where they like do like the after they say anything, they're like,
oh yeah, chicken wing.
No, I'm gonna start doing that at like restaurants. I'm like, can I have a chicken wing?
No, they go
like,
just
some wing.
Yeah, like how are you doing? How's your day going today?
That's literally.
I like your shirt. It's like a little mo.
I'm gonna stop saying G's in protest. Anyway, as Sarah said, we were talking about apartment hunting. So we've lived here for a few years. We've gone through the process a couple of times. We actually just got a new apartment, so we're super excited about that. You're gonna see an apartment tour once we like finally move everything in and redecorate, and you'll see a new setup. It's gonna be a new era.
It's gonna be so nice because as much as we love like the exposed brick and everything, it's just not it for the vibe of like our mini episode. So we're excited to have a new setup with white walls.
She's gonna be an upgrade.
Maybe a neon sign. We were talking about like getting a sign to put behind us, but we're not sure.
We should look into that. Yeah,
we should. We've been meaning to do that for months now.
Yeah. So
anyway,
first things first. I'm the realist. I'm so I hate us. Okay. You know that song that's like, she be coming around the mountain
when she comes.
She
be coming around.
For some reason, I thought when I said cannibalism, I don't really know why. You know the Donner Party?
Because cannibals live in mountains?
No, it's the Donner Party.
You know the Irish people?
What?
Never mind. What are you talking about?
You know Donner Party?
No.
We'll talk about that at dinner. Okay. We're talking about back to the episode. We're not talking about cannibalist pilgrims. Okay. So, first things first. Where to look. So.
Oh, yeah, we're back to this now.
Yes. Especially, it's different now with COVID because back in the olden days, before the pandemic, did I just call it the
back before the panini press.
The panini press. You could obviously, like, go to open houses and look in person, but, like, they created a much more convenient process because you can't really, like, go visit necessarily. So, obviously, the most like, famous website to look for apartments here is Street Easy. But Street Easy, yeah, we have some beef with her, some beef not with her. There's also, obviously, other websites, and I'll, like, literally write them right here, or right here, or right here.
On my boob.
Wherever there is space in this area, because I don't really know how close we are. But I'll also name some websites. Street Easy, Rent Hop, Triple Mint, Apartments.com. Zillow.
Something Avenue. I forget what it's called, though.
Yeah, we'll list them here.
Yeah.
Anyway, Street East is obviously the most popular because you can search by budget, like minimum and maximum, how many rooms you want, neighborhoods,
pet friendly, laundry, and you can even search for, like, little things like that, which is nice.
Yeah. Like, whatever amenities you want. And, like, most people will find their apartment through there just because, like, it shows you everything on a map so you can, like, tell where you're going to, like, need to go to work or go to school, etc., and things like that. But for us, like, the one thing about Street Easy that's, like, a little bit iffy is that a lot of the brokers or real estate agents who do put their listings on Street Easy will use a fisheye lens when they do the video tour because you can't go in person necessarily. So they'll post virtual tours of the apartment, and then, like, they'll text you or email you more videos after you, like, put in a request for more information. But all those videos, most of them do use fisheye lenses, so it looks a lot bigger on the video than it does in person. So I very, very, very highly recommend that if you do use Street Easy and you do not go to visit in person, you, like, do the online process, that you ask for a floor plan with dimensions. And if they give you a hard time, just explain to them that, like, you can't go visit it in person, so you want to know exactly how big it is. But definitely ask for dimensions so you know how the room is actually, because, like, we have very tiny rooms and, like, I don't really mind it, but
we didn't know they were going to be this tiny even going in, because, like, when we bought this apartment, it was still quarantine. No one was going out, no one was eating out, no one was literally, like, having friends over, even, like, 2 or 3, like, nothing like that. So we didn't have the capability to come in and tour this apartment in person because they weren't offering that option. Now, however, we got to see the new apartment that we're moving into, probably, like, in 2 episodes from now you'll see. Yeah, 2 episodes. We actually had the opportunity to go see it in person, and it was exactly like the pictures, if not better.
I was like,
however, we went and toured 2 or 3 apartments before this one, and we don't know, because one of them, they didn't even use fisheye. But the thing with brokers and agents especially, no hate, if you're, like, I understand why you would do this if you are a broker and agent, but, like, brokers and agents are masters at angles. They know exactly where to place the camera, whether it's outside of the room, inside in the upper left-hand corner, like, whatever it may be, to make the room look as big as humanly possible. And then you get in and you're like, this is the size of my literal fridge. So it you know what I mean? Like, even if it's not fisheye, which most of the time that's what they use, but even if it's even if it doesn't look like it rounds the corners, like, even if it doesn't really look like fisheye, go in anyway, because they're probably lying to you regardless.
And, like, there are other websites you can look at, obviously, like Rent Hop, etc. And a lot of those will, like, show pictures, and then you can, like, request more information. But no matter what website you use, make sure you ask for dimensions, floor plans, just so you know everything is set up, the size of everything, before you make any commitments going forward. And also make sure there's no broker fee, because that fee will get you. Because I think, pretty sure you can't do it right now during the pandemic because of, like, laws in New York City. But before the pandemic, the broker that helps you find your apartment, or that you, like, go through, will sometimes charge a fee upwards of, like, $600, or, like, a percentage of your rent.
Even upwards of, like, your first month's rent or security deposit, which is absurd.
And that will hurt your pockets. So I think there actually is a like, little box you can check on most of those websites that says, like, no fees only. So if you see that box, check that so fast, because that will dip into your pockets a lot.
Yeah, you should never be paying brokers' fees. That's just absolutely absurd. Yeah. And a lot of real estate agencies right now are not, like, they may have it a thing for their employees, never to charge broker's fees.
Yeah.
I think there's always 2 bare minimums that you should never feel bad to ask. And if anyone feels uncomfortable giving it to you, that's such a huge red flag. And it's literally dimensions and broker's fees.
Because I actually think right now New York is requiring the buildings themselves, like the apartment building, to pay the broker's fee on their behalf because they're helping.
So they still get paid. It's just not from your pocket.
Next. The number one thing that everyone wants to know is how much do you pay for an apartment? And I'm going to be so honest. I obviously am from Florida, and she's from the P state, Pennsylvania. I was going to say Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania. And York. And obviously those areas rent-wise are so different from New York. New York and LA are obviously the most expensive places to live. And finding an apartment here, like what you would get for a studio here is what you would get for a 3-bedroom in Jacksonville, Florida. So I would say, like, if you are a college student or a young professional or moving to New York and looking for an apartment, I highly suggest that you budget very, very well, because they do all require you to make at least like 35 times your rent price in order to be guaranteed that apartment. So I would say on the very, very cheaper, smaller apartment side of things, around $1,000 a month is pretty standard. $1,500 is for like a decent sized apartment with maybe like laundry in unit or a microwave, things like that, is around $1,500. And if you want something a little bit nicer, like a little bit more roomy and like a more nicer area, $2,000 and upwards is what you're looking for a studio or a 1 bed. But if you do want to save money, I highly suggest you live with roommates, at least 1 or 2, 3 max probably, and you'll probably find yourself spending a little bit less than. So I suggest you take into account your budget if you're going to live with anyone, if you want a 1 bedroom or a studio, and obviously location when you're thinking about budgeting. Yeah. So for example, right now in this current bricky apartment, we have 4 people in this apartment, and we all have our own rooms. They're all pretty small, but like they're livable, obviously. Living room, fridge, stove, oven, and we have laundry unit, which is a big thing for us. And a 6th-floor walk-up with no elevator, which, keeps the glutes and hammies in check. We still
no gym, no stair climber needed.
We're still we've lived here for, I think, at least 10 months, and we're still out of breath every time we hit the 2nd flight of stairs. Yeah. So we pay upwards of $7,000 total, not each at all, but total for this apartment. And so divvying that up, we do obviously by square feet, like bigger rooms pay more, which you probably should do if you live with other people. So for us, like that was like better because we're living near a campus, which means it's going to be more expensive because it's like a area with a lot of students in it. But I think keeping in account what amenities you want, because like some people will only be rooms with elevators or like buildings with elevators. For us, we obviously had stairs, but laundry and unit and all having our own room was like a big thing for us, and also location. So I think create your like 3-pronged list of your priorities, whether it be location, doorman, laundry, etc. And if you find something within that 3 list and also in your budget, then like that's the place for you.
Yeah, and I think just the last thing about budgeting, I think, is that, a conversation that I had to have with my parents before buying this apartment. My whole argument was that living with roommates are cheaper, but my parents didn't understand because they were like, well, aren't you just splitting it and paying as much as you would for a studio anyway? Huge no, because studios are not only just like more expensive in general, probably by like what, $500, but when you split an apartment with people, it's not just room by room, it's amenities as well, like Sydney mentioned earlier. So it's like electricity, for example. If you leave your living room lights on all the time and you live alone, that's going to rack up your wallet. But when you live with 3 other people and you leave the living room lights on for like 6 hours at a time, you can split that amount. You know what I mean? So it's not just individual room, bathroom, like space dimensions. It's like amenities, Wi-Fi, electricity, like hot water, regular water, heat.
Get you a roommate like this one,
like
who will physically come into your room and scream at you if you do not turn your lights off.
Oh yeah, she keeps me in check.
Yes, I have nice. Black parents. If it is the daytime and you have your lights on, you are killing the environment. Don't do it. You can see, hopefully.
Exactly. The next thing we're going to talk about is location, because as NYU students, Location, particularly living closer to East Village, was very, very big for us. We obviously only have 4 years here at NYU, or at least I do. She might go to law school here. But we want to live close to campus for those 4 years, as I'm sure you Columbia students do, and you Pace students do, and your New School students do, of course, and other schools in New York City. So I think, like, living as close as you can to your university is really important. However, what you have to understand is if you're trying to rent an apartment as close to your university as possible, renters know that. Building managers know that, especially in the East Village. Getting like a studio, for example, is impossible when you're trying to like save money. There are no inexpensive studios around here. Am I right? Like literally none.
I think one big thing is people are like, I want to live close to my campus, but if you're like stuck on wanting to live in an apartment and not dorming, because dorming does get really expensive, especially at NYU, is that you can live further away from your building. Like if you live in Brooklyn, which has like much nicer apartments for a lot less, make sure you live near a subway station that's near your campus, because if that commute is 5 minutes, but you can save $1,000 a month on rent, please. So while being close to your campus is an incredibly convenient situation, I wouldn't marry yourself to the idea, because like I love Brooklyn. I love whatever neighborhoods are like near there, because they're a lot nicer for cheaper. It's like as a pairing. So I think one big thing is transportation, because for example, as people who are full-time students and have jobs, for example, we go to school in East Village, obviously,
and then we work elsewhere.
Yeah, I work in Midtown. So for me,
I work in Soho.
So like for us, having to go 2 separate directions, but also go to school in the same place, our like biggest thing when looking for apartments was looking for transportation that was accessible for both of those. So I think keep that in mind.
For sure. And I also think something really important to mention, and something like kind of a thought that I had before moving here, was based on shows like Gossip Girl, Sex and the City, Brooklyn was kind of deemed, or anywhere outside of main Manhattan, and when I say main, I mean like slightly downtown, Midtown, and Upper East Side. Anything aside from that to me was deemed like, oh, the lesser live there. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, because it wasn't where my main characters were shown. So I was like, ugh, you know what I mean? And it kind of like scoffed at it, especially Brooklyn. Like, remember how Miranda and her kid has to move to Brooklyn?
They were like, you're like, dying. I was like, you're 40.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
And also now, you have to keep in mind that those shows were filmed in early 2000s, late 1990s. Now Brooklyn is literally the new Manhattan, especially areas like William. Oh, it's so gentrified. Especially areas like Williamsburg and Dumbo. Sorry to spit all over you. But areas like that are like places where you will find a lot of NYU students there. And Sydney and I just went and grabbed an early dinner in Brooklyn the other day, and the environment was
entertaining.
Yeah,
the food was incredible. They have great food, great coffee shops, especially in
great
like,
brunch
the art
places.
Thrifting community. Like that is for you. And like I
friendly people, right? And more space. Sorry,
I spent literally my entire first year here in Williamsburg. And no, I didn't live there. I just spent all my time there
because Mr. Medium
was there. And I literally loved it. Like there's always something to do. That we went bowling and went to the park and got coffee and dinner and like it's wonderful. So it's just a lot more like diversity there too, in like smaller communities. So I loved that. So yeah, I'd say don't be scared of what you see on TV in terms of like what neighborhood you live in, because everything has something to offer. Like Fi-Dye is so gorgeous. So I think it's a very big personality thing also, because obviously all of the neighborhoods have like character, personality things to offer. But like for me, I know that based on things I like to do, where I like to go, what I like to see, etc., there are certain neighborhoods that I vibe more with, whether it's like East Village or Soho or Gramercy Park or Fi-Dye. So I think it's obviously like a personality thing as well. So like if you haven't been to the city before and you are moving here, I do recommend doing some research, or maybe doing like a day trip or weekend trip here just to see like sites and things you want to do, because that's obviously a very big factor where you want to live.
I completely agree, because I think something really important to note is that in TV and media in general, sometimes whether it's like social media or it's like something you're watching on Netflix, creators and producers tend to stereotype certain areas, certain people, certain sections of even Manhattan in a certain weird way, or in a certain very stereotypical way. And I think it's important to note that like shows like Gossip Girl and Sex and the City that were filmed in 1990s, early 2000s is a lot different than what it is right now. Like for example, Williamsburg and Dumbo and Brooklyn are some of the most those two areas are even more popular to go to, whether to eat, to live, than some areas in Manhattan itself. So, and it is gentrified, but we won't talk about that. I think like stuff like that is important to note when you're deciding where to live. Like don't go off of the cool factor that television and media provide.
Yeah, like for me sometimes like even that supersedes convenience, because like I might want to go to school on the Upper West Side, but I will not live there. I don't vibe with the Upper West Side. I will live on the East Side and trek my butt through Central Park if I have to.
She's an Upper East Side princess.
Yeah. So yeah, like for me that just like supersedes whatever else I could want out of like where I live.
Yeah.
My eyelash is halfway off. I sneezed so hard it flew off. Looking front, can you tell?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But maybe just a little close. Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
It's okay, they won't say.
I sneezed so hard that my eyelash came off. That's really cute.
Yeah, we love to see it.
So, to recap, with half my eyelash off, budget, amenities, neighborhood, budget again, and if you want roommates or not. Those are like the big 5 things to keep in mind when looking for an apartment. And we listed those websites earlier, so go check those out. Put them in the caption as well. Caption, is that what you call it? Description.
I got
yes.
you.
Words are a great and beautiful thing.
Yes.
So if you want to listen to more of our episodes or watch more parts of this series, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's just Crying in Public. If you want to hear our full episodes, you can listen to them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts, called Crying in Public. And find us on Instagram and TikTok at Crying in Public Podcast.
We love you. Have a good day. See you next time.
Oh my God, you didn't say guys. Goodbye.
Guys. Goodbye.
See you next week.
Bye.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.